Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. You guys seem to respond quite a bit when I talk about my work project, so I wanted to take a bit today to talk about it because today is, well, yesterday technically, but it's been a full week since this project has been solely my responsibility. The previous developer was on contract for about 6 months, and that's expired. And now it's fully my project. And as you all know, for the last couple of weeks that he was on contract, it was a super stressful time for me. And it got a little bit better near the end, but as soon as he left, immediately the next day, I encountered issues that, had I had him to lean on, we could have solved it very quickly. But without him, it takes significantly longer. And this week has been chasing more of those type of issues. It hasn't been, it hasn't been as bad as I imagined it in my head. I think anytime something like this happens, where there's a major change in the way that things work, the initial gut reaction is to panic because you expect it to be catastrophic. And I expected that for sure. And while it has been challenging, I wouldn't say it's been catastrophic. There have been a few issues that have arisen that made the software practically unusable for customers, but not broken to the point of completely useless. So, it's been okay-ish. The hard part is, and I think this goes for any developer on any project that isn't yours. If you haven't written a project and you get assigned to a project, it means that until you know that project inside and out, anything that you need to do requires this gargantuan amount of effort researching. So for instance, I had a customer complaint that stemmed from one location. When this one location put in a ticket, it was supposed to be assigned to a specific person. And so we have this whole back end kind of trigger management system that checks all of these balances. It says, okay, if this ticket is about this and it's about that, then it goes here and it goes here and it shuffles all around. And it wasn't working. And it wasn't working at all. It took me 2 days to find the problem. And the problem came down to, before leaving, the previous developer had decided that this process that ran whenever this ticket was put in was inefficient, and he decided to make it more efficient. And by more efficient, I mean he broke it. Basically, the process ran the first check, and if that worked, it bailed. And that's not at all how it's supposed to work. It took me 2 days to find one line of code that I needed to delete. One line of code that was exiting the program prematurely needed to go away, and everything is fine after that. But it took me 2 days because, as I've mentioned before, this project is hundreds of thousands of lines of code. It's gigantic. It's made up of about 150 to maybe, well, now it's a lot more than that actually. Probably about 350 individual PHP files plus some added libraries. So these 350 PHP files, some of them are relatively small. Most of them are thousands of lines because he was a procedural programmer, so it's just, here's everything. And anytime a problem like this arises, I have to go, first of all, figure out which of these 350 programs is causing the problem, and then I have to start debugging that program. And because I'm not intimately familiar with the software, I have to start at the beginning. I have to start with when the page loads, what starts loading, work down that tree to figure out which of these things is causing the issue. It took me 2 days to find a line of code. Similarly, the way this software was built, some of it is mind-numbing because he wanted to make it so customizable, so modular that a lot of the SQL that the software needs to run to be able to do things is in the database. So he would say, if you look up this thing, you look up, this part, let's go look in the database and see what SQL to run to go find that. And that has led to me chasing all sorts of issues down where, tables don't exist or columns don't exist because we tried to make everything a little bit more generic when we moved all these clients over, and so they don't have certain tables or certain things that you need to have, and it's super duper frustrating. So it's been a huge challenge, and I think that for my employer, I'm doing fine. Like, to them, customer puts in a complaint, I fix the complaint. But to me, it's like, I know that these issues are minute. Most of them are these tiny little, there's one line of code that's doing something wrong. There's one variable that's misspelled. There's one whatever that I need to go touch. But it takes me 12, 16, 18 hours to find it because I don't know where I'm looking. And as a developer, if it was my project and this problem came up, I would know immediately what to do to fix it. Whereas with this, days and days of research just to fix a tiny issue. And that causes me a whole lot of anxiety because the customer's waiting. The customer's like, I can't use this until you fix it. And I go, I have no concept to even tell you when it will be fixed. It will be fixed at some point in the future, but I can't tell you when. And that frustrates me. But it's going okay. And I think that as I become, my goal right now is to iron it out. And then I'm just going to start touching all of these PHP files and try to clean them up as best as possible so that I at least have more of a framework and less of a collection of completely standalone PHP files that just do some magic and don't report anything. I hope that makes some sense. It's been an experience. Trial by fire is sometimes good, but when it's on a live system, it can be really frustrating for me. So if you've been looking for an update, that's what I got. That's all I have. So thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is expunge. It is a verb meaning to rid oneself of an annoyance, to cast out, to get rid of, or to forcibly eject. There is no man, however wise, who has not at some period of his youth said things or lived in a way the consciousness of which is so unpleasant to him in later life that he would gladly, if he could, expunge it from his memory. Marcel Proust, a French novelist, essayist, and critic. Expunge. E-X-P-U-N-G-E. I would like to expunge the vast majority of this code base.